hang on to your seat, baby, cause this one's a screamer. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
What is going on, Entertainment with Tam Comtel with another video. We doing Hollywood Hot Topics, aka a stop in the neighborhood. Okay, first let's talk about this Amanda Seales interview. It was not only very informative, but also very exhausting. Watching it at some points, I understood completely what she was saying. So let's start off with the beginning. When she started talking about like her childhood, she mentions her being in Orlando and her being in school and the teacher not liking her because she seemed like, I guess, a know-it-all and would correct her. And the teacher did not like that. We'll tell the mom about it. The mom is West Indies, and the mom would kind of know why the teacher is saying that because Amanda, as a child, was so knowledgeable in so many things that she would correct the teachers at times, which would irritate the teachers. Y'all know I live in SoFlo. The teachers down here are very much like that. I could go on for days. The stories. I already talked about this also in another video where when I was in like middle school, I was put into like this magnet program for like the smarter kids, and it was just straight white people, white kids. So it was a few of us black kids that kind of stuck together, but just in that experience in itself, it was very exhausting because the teachers would treat us completely different as if we were aliens at times when we behaved even better than some of the white kids that they had in their classes. So when Amanda started telling the story about the fact that her being in Orlando and just Florida just in general being, a racist state and her going through that as a child in schooling, I understood exactly where she was coming from. Unless you live down here, you cannot speak on it, period, point blank. I'm telling you. Period, point blank. So it irritated me to see Shannon try to justify it when I'm like, you do not have a clue of the effery that goes down here. Like, you literally would have to be here to know what you're talking about. Because sometimes it makes you question your sanity. It really does. This interview kind of showed us, like, not everybody has the depth to do certain interviews with certain people. That's what it kind of showed. It showed that, like, certain guests shouldn't be going on the Shannon Sharpe show because he doesn't have the depth sometimes to go into certain conversations without negating their experience or putting his own input into it. Because an interview, you can input your own experience at times, but to try to negate how she felt or what she went through, that defeats the whole purpose of the interview. Because the interview is to get their side and their point of view, not to go back and forth in regards to what you think. It's to get their view and their opinion, not to make sure that yours is heard. And that's what kind of bothered me in the beginning of the interview. Now, it started to get a little bit better towards the middle and also the end. Now, I thought she was going to walk off. I was like, oh my gosh, she about to walk off. She about to walk off. She about to walk off, and they're going to say, oh, they had to bring her back so that way she could finish the interview. Because you could tell in the beginning, especially after that whole teacher conversation happened, you can tell she was very irritable. And he was very irritable. And to me, he was a little bit dismissive in the beginning, which kind of ticked me off because I'm like, you're acting as if the fact that y'all don't agree that it's a problem. Why is it a problem that you guys don't agree on something? That's why I'm so keen on making this channel like to where y'all may not have to agree with me, but I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to be mad. Like, unless you disrespect me, that's when I get irritated because it's not even that deep. But if you don't agree with something I say, you're respectful, not agreeing with it, I don't give a crap. That's your opinion. That's what we're entitled to as adults. I don't get what's the anger and getting mad about not agreeing with somebody. She talked about getting her start like in the industry and stuff like that. Thank God Shannon asked about the whole Nickelodeon situation. It doesn't seem like she went through any of the stuff that the kids went through on set. Probably a little bit of racism here and there, but nothing to the point where like a Drake did on the damn show. So thank God for that. But she started talking about that and how she got her start in the industry, but she still wanted to be like a gymnast. Okay, let me tell you what bothers people a lot with her. She's super accomplished and she's not afraid to talk about it. A lot of people hate when you talk about your accomplishments because they feel like you're bragging, because they in themselves haven't accomplished ish. So when you say, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that, and then you're talking about it to somebody who's only did this or had this job, they're like, damn, what did I do? You're bragging. You keep talking about it. That's what bothers people about Amanda, because she's not the type that's gonna be quiet about her accomplishment. She gonna let you know that she has this degree. She gonna let you know that she's worked here. She's gonna let you know that she's done this, which is a good thing that I feel like a lot of people need to do, because if you don't let people know that, they're going to try you because they're gonna feel like you're unaccomplished, and two, they're gonna undervalue you because they're not gonna know the type of stuff that you bring to a platform or just bring just in general. So it's kind of a positive. It's a whole lot of a positive in my opinion, but it could be a negative depending on the person that you're telling it to. And here's the thing, I get the point Shay was trying to make, because we've all heard, oh, children should be seen, not heard, etc., etc. I get that. But in the terms she was talking about it, she related it to racism, not the point of she was such a know-it-all that it bothered her. It's because she was a black know-it-all that it bothered the lady. Had it been a white girl that was doing some of the same stuff that Amanda was doing, that teacher would not have the same issue with her as her. So that's what Amanda was trying to get through to Shannon, but it wasn't clicking for him. And it's only because I'm telling you, if you don't live down here, you would just never know. You literally would never know, because it's a certain tone that a certain white people talk to that live down here in the South. Like, they have a certain way of saying certain things and certain terms that they use to try to undermine you as a person. He just doesn't get that. Clearly, both of them were not over the conversation, because they kept kind of piggybacking on the situation. And this is what Amanda does that she needs to be very careful. She has a very passive aggressive sort of attitude when it comes to when she feels offended. And that's what may rub people the wrong way, because they would start to veer off into certain conversations besides that whole school topic. And she would piggyback off of that and say a little passive aggressive comment to irritate Shannon and to bother him. This is the type of stuff that people would get from her probably in the industry, and that would get her difficult, which still isn't difficult, quote unquote, but people that are super or uber sensitive would be like, oh, she's being difficult, she's giving me a hard time. Because in one instance of the interview, she was talking about her wanting to be a gymnast and pursue that instead of being in the industry working for Nickelodeon for the small time that she did. And she was just like, you know how kids see different perspectives, like we were just talking about, yeah, like that. So like that's why I just wanted to be a gymnast and not be, a child entertainer. And I'm like, yeah, you're being passive aggressive, like you're doing that to kind of irritate him, and it was getting on Shannon's nerve. Okay, Shannon was busting out the shirt as the seconds and minutes went by during the beginning of the interview, first 45 minutes of the interview to be exact. He was busting out the seams because he never, in my opinion, had such an educated person sit down with him and really question him and really, negate some of the points that he was making. Usually the guests sort of laugh and kiki ha ha, but Amanda was sort of pressing on some of his disagreements that he had with her, which was a little funny to see in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, because for the first time we kind of saw Shannon sweat, which we haven't seen in any of the other interviews, at least from the ones that I've watched. What I liked about this interview, it felt like I went through the journey of her career, which I really, really appreciated. So shout out to Shannon for doing that, because not a lot of people could really go there and start from literally the beginning and then work all the way up to the point where her recent career drama that she's been in, her recent accomplishments, all that type of stuff. So the transitional points in the interview, Shannon hits that every time. It's very hard to do to try to get somebody you're interviewing to go from point A to point B without forgetting point B, because sometimes you might write it down, but you might skip over it on accident, and then you forget point B, and certain things and questions may not get answered. So he did a really, really good job with that. Amanda said something that is so right. I was like, thank you. Please thank. This is what Candace was trying to get through to Giselle and Robin that they didn't get. She said, Shannon said, do you feel like, I forget the question that he posed to her, but she says, I feel like haven't had a hard start when it comes to career accomplishments, because she said, I grew up from a middle class family. I'm light skinned and I'm heavily educated. I said, thank you. That's all. Thank you. I said, thank you. Like, finally, somebody's willing to admit that. So for her to say something like that, that made me gain like 10 times respect for her than ever, because she didn't have to really admit something like this, because people that are of a lighter hue will not ever say that is a little bit of a privilege that I've had throughout my career, because the fact that I'm lighter, it's very easier for me to accomplish certain things. Now let's get to the negative stuff. Amanda should not have said that she's autistic if she wasn't diagnosed autistic. I don't think she should have did it. Okay? Because for those that have been actually diagnosed, it's kind of giving a false representation, because anybody can say that, you know, that they attribute some of the same qualities that an autistic person does just off of their behaviors. So I don't think it was smart for her to do that at all, because now you have people calling Shannon ableist, and so ableist, all types of words and everything, when technically you haven't been diagnosed with autism. So how could you call him a ableist if she hasn't been diagnosed? You see what I'm saying? Now she went live and talked a little bit about the interview and the whole situation and some of the stuff that has been left out.
They cut out at the end, he was asking, no, I have not been clinically diagnosed by a doctor because I'm not paying $10,000 to do that. And most people will tell you that at this age, you don't need a clinical diagnosis in that sense. And I think that's the other thing. It's like, we are so conditioned here in this nation to really only consider something in one kind of way. And I will get back to that. They cut out at the end, he was asking, no, I have not been clinically diagnosed by a doctor because I'm not paying $10,000 to do that.
So let me ask you this. How old were you when you got diagnosed, and did you always feel that you was different and you felt something was wrong?
Well, what's today?
Today is Thursday, the 18th.
So 42 and however many days until I was just recently diagnosed.
Okay.
And this came out of this situation because so many Black women who are autistic said to me, I see you. You need, but then, you know, I think sometimes we're afraid to learn certain things.
Yeah.
Precocious, you know, loquacious child that's always talking.
Yeah.
They're telling her, like, why you letting her just do all this talking and all of that? Why she's too fresh? She too fresh. Why you do?
Now, I wouldn't deny that she is, but I just don't think that you should claim that if you haven't been diagnosed. And I also feel like it was a little bit disservice to Shannon because of all the backlash that he is getting due to this whole interview. Now, I do believe that he deserves some backlash for the beginning of the interview in regards to negating her experience. I don't think he deserves any backlash for in regards of calling him an ableist. I don't think that's fair to do to Shannon at all. Now, also in this interview, she talked a lot about Insecure and a run-in that she had with the publicist of Issa Rae. Now, this right here, this story just in general, kind of showed you how dirty Hollywood is and how cliquish the girls are when it comes to Hollywood, and how it's basically like a big-ass high school, because Issa Rae's publicist, Vanessa, I believe that's her name, did not like Amanda due to some industry stuff and basically had her kicked out of a party. They were at a party that she was invited to, and the publicist told security, go up to her and say, I'm sorry, man, but you have to leave. I'm sorry, man, but you have to leave. And she said, why? He said, well, I'm going to go find out. He went and go find out and said, oh, it's because of Vanessa. She doesn't want you here. And then she had to get the hell out. I said, if that's not dirty, I don't know what is. Issa Rae handled this not in the right way. And the reason why I say this is because she shouldn't have been kicked out of that party. Her being at that party would not have ruined the party and its going-ons. All it did was create more drama at the workplace, because at the end of the day, whether it's a party or not, it's still an industry event where there's people from the Insecure cast there. So to me, Issa handled this the wrong way because she just didn't want to pick a side. In some certain situations, with you being management and you being above and superior to these two women, you should have picked a side. And it's not even picking a side, it's doing what's right. Her getting kicked out that party was wrong. And being chest bumped, as she said, was wrong. Pure point blank. There was no need for her to leave. Why? You could have just gave her a dirty look, walk by. Kicking her out, though, is crazy. And the phone call afterwards was even crazier. That's when Issa really should have stepped in. You don't call and say, I don't like you. Like, come on now. Why? So I understood Amanda with that one 100%. And I think Issa, girl, you're gonna have to speak up about this, because it's not looking too right on her end, because it makes her look like she wants to fit in so bad that she's willing to kind of compromise her moral compass for it, which isn't good. So she'd rather be on the popular side where everybody's I hate Amanda versus, hey, yeah, I know I don't like her, but you know you shouldn't have did this, and you know this not right. Now she also throwed that's the part that made me laugh like real bad. Was about Serranas and Serranas Jackson. That I found that funny because Kiki Palmer was somewhere laughing like she was getting a good cackle out of him being basically exposed for hopping on a hate train. So that was a little part that I found kind of funny, because she kind of threw him in there in the whole Insecure drama. Now I will say, Amanda, to me, she strikes as the type of person who takes a trauma that she has from a certain situation and brings it into a new situation. And I think that's kind of where she falters, because sometimes I feel like she goes into certain situations with a mindset of having a certain, that she's going to have a certain experience again because she already had it. And I think that's where she sort of falters with that. She rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but not me completely, because I've met a lot of people like her. I've worked with a lot of people like her. So she doesn't rub me off as off-putting. Some people she rubs off very off-putting because they haven't worked or been around people like her. You got to have certain sort of like a tough skin to be around somebody like her, because she's so accomplished that if you have sort of like a soft skin, or mentally you don't think you are where you should be, maybe in life or just in general, she's going to take you off because you're going to think that she's trying to school you, or that she thinks she's better than. Okay? Let me know what y'all think down below in the comments about the whole interview. Do you guys think Shay Shay, did his big one with it? Or do you guys think, he could have been a little bit more in depth with the way that his approach with the interview? Okay? I think it was a great interview, though. Y'all should check it out if y'all haven't. Let me know what y'all think down below, and we're out, babies.
No personal thing.